Netanyahu was the longest. This is important actually.
Mm-mm.
Netanyahu was the longest serving prime minister in Israel. It's not really
Wow.
important, but it's something that's important to me. And it took him a while to get to be the longest serving prime minister, of course. He
Mm.
took about 10 years as a prime minister.
Wow.
Yeah. Because the first prime minister, he was a prime minister for about 9 years or 9 years and 3 months and 27 days or something like that,
Wow,
whatever.
almost 10 years.
Right. So everybody was looking, everybody was, not everybody, me and my friend, the political reporter for the Jerusalem Post was saying, okay, what's going to happen when Netanyahu reaches his goal, his milestone of being the longest serving prime minister?
Mm.
So I was thinking, okay, once he reaches that milestone, then he'll be less motivated to stay as prime minister. Well, guess what? He's still pretty motivated as prime minister. I think he won 3 elections after he
Wow.
got to that milestone. So now seeing this, I realized that he had what to do. In other words, it's nice to be nominated as for the Nobel Peace Prize, don't you think?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
like
pretty
an
nice.
award.
It's a big
It's
award.
a big
Yeah,
award.
yeah. It's a nice
Wow.
award. It's an award. But then I realized you don't get nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize like you're playing marbles, okay,
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, who's going to get it anymore?
Yes, it
That's
takes
not the way
hard work.
it takes hard work. And
Yeah.
really, and frankly, you don't do that work in order to get the Nobel Peace Prize. You do that work because it's important work.
Yes. Yeah, I
So the
believe in
reason
that.
that Netanyahu is still the prime minister and is still motivated to be the prime minister, it's because he knows that he has a lot of important work to do that only he can do, or at least he thinks,
Wow.
and he's probably right. I think he's right. I think that only Netanyahu can do the kind of work that Netanyahu is doing. There's some work that Netanyahu will do, and that other people will do also. But
Mhm.
some of the stuff that he's done, I don't think anybody else could have done. Certainly not the guy who's trying to become prime minister instead of him. This guy is just a joke. And
Yeah,
the
they
fact is that
cannot.
anybody who to tries to oppose Netanyahu or tries to what's the word, niggle up to his space, tries to push Netanyahu out,
Mm-mm.
is a joke because Netanyahu is going to make
Mhm.
mincemeat out of him. Politically, Netanyahu is a powerhouse and everybody else. So all of the people in Netanyahu's party, most of them, realize they can't, they have to continue saying, yes, Mr. Prime Minister, you're the best. We'll wait until you leave and then we'll try to become prime minister. Until then, we'll be happy with whatever you give us. That's the way it
Yeah.
works in this country. It wasn't
Yeah.
always like that, but by now everybody realizes. So that's
It's
it. So Netanyahu is proud. I mean, Netanyahu probably will one day say, I don't know, is it because it might be when maybe it's when Israel will make peace with Iran. That's when Netanyahu will say, okay, I'm done here. You guys can come in and out trying to do something else. He's just I didn't say Hannah, I'm a member of his party, and I didn't start out being such a pro Netanyahu guy. I started out being a loyal opposition inside the party. I said, listen, you're doing some stuff that I don't like. I want somebody who will do stuff that I do like to go in instead of you.
Mhm.
But by now, I'm just saying, no, let him do whatever he needs to do. He sees the big picture. Obviously, I'd rather him do something else, do other things. But you know what? That's the way he runs his business. He makes everybody feel, oh, gee, I wish he would treat me better. But he's juggling a jillion balls. And he's just much more. He just knows. I think he knows what he's doing. I really
Yeah.
do.
He has a great responsibility for all people there.
And not only, I think that he sees his responsibility for the entire world. Because the United States, they say the president of the United States is the leader of the free world, right?
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Mm.
Well, I think that Netanyahu thinks that he is much better than anybody who was the president, is the president, and will be the president. And he's got a.
Yeah.
And we say in Judaism, there's a phrase where there are no men, strive to be a man. In other words, if there's nobody better around, you jump up and you take responsibility. And I think that's what he's doing. Obviously, he's not running for the president of the United States.
Wow.
He's the prime minister of Israel, but he sees what needs to be done. And obviously, look, he recognizes that the good of the United States is the good of Israel. In other words, if America goes to pot, then that's not good for Israel.
Yes.
So he says, okay, I better do stuff I better make sure that things go good in America so that it'll be good for Israel. That's his ultimate. I really believe that's his ultimate motivation. I don't think that Netanyahu's motivation is to smoke cigars. I think that his motivation is for the benefit of Israel.
Yes.
I really
for all
do.
the people.
For all the people of Israel. And ultimately, that means that certain things are like, if his advisors say, listen, there's a civil war going on between Hoochie Coochie and Moochie Moochie, I don't know. There's something going on in some corner of the world that if we don't, we should really pay attention to that, and we should really try to do something to make sure that the outcome is best for Israel.
Yes.
Like, let's say Sudan and South Sudan, right? I think there still is. There's Sudan and there's South Sudan. They had a civil war. They ultimately split into two countries. So I think that at some point Israel was helping Sudan. I'm sorry, South Sudan.
South.
So I think that what happened, I think ultimately that Israel was using back channels to be in touch with both Sudan and South Sudan. And I know that my friend Danny Danon, he's a member of Netanyahu's party. He loved South Sudan. I think South Sudan was the Christians and North Sudan was the Muslims. I think that was the situation.
Oh, okay.
So I think that what Netanyahu orchestrated was, he says, listen, we're going to send Danny Danon to deal with the Christians because Danny Danon likes Christians. But I'm also going to have a quiet channel with North Sudan.
Wow.
And guess what? Now North Sudan has created a peace treaty with Israel.
Wow.
That's probably what it says here, down here. For he gets a Nobel Peace Prize for negotiating peace with the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, for Bahrain. I think Bahrain is the one they did now, and Sudan. I think that in the past half year we have 3 peace treaties.
Wow.
Half a year.
Yeah,
No,
it's a big. Wow. So in Sudan, there's two president or prime minister.
Pardon me?
In Sudan, because they are now have different South and Sudan, so they have different president or prime minister now.
I have no idea. I can't follow all that stuff. What do you think I am? An advisor to the prime minister? I can barely keep the names of my Filipino assistants together.
Wow, but it's a big goal that you have now 2 countries or state that have now a treaty with Israel.
Of course.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, from 1948, from the very first words of the Israeli Declaration of Independence, Israel said the most important thing for us is peace, and it's true. And obviously, because if you don't have peace, then it's a problem. And really, there's been no country that has had. That's not necessarily true, but certainly there are few countries that have had less peace than Israel.
Yeah, there's always
and frankly, I would dare to say there have been no countries that want peace more than Israel and have had less peace than Israel. America loves peace, right? Everybody really loves. Smart countries love peace, but When you're the biggest superpower in the world, you do pretty well by having peace. You know, so
Yeah.
America hasn't had has had peace, but other countries have not had peace. I don't know. South Korea hasn't had peace because the North Koreans are trying to destroy them. I don't know. And you know, there's here. Let's take a quick peek. Countries at war, Wikipedia.
Oh.
Yeah. List of ongoing armed conflicts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Every day there's a war. It's
No, all
hard.
war. You're
Yeah.
going to see there's about 100 wars going on now.
Yeah. It's very stressful for some people there.
Minor conflicts. Let's look at it. Okay, let's look at Israel. Here, Israel. 10 wars. In 1948, there was a war. And that's about it. Something was weird going on over here.
Conflict.
What does this mean? These are minor conflicts in the past year. The start of the conflict was in 1948. It's true.
Mhm.
In 2020, it's a minor conflict. Isn't this crazy? Everybody's heard of the
Only 20.
Israel-Palestinian conflict.
Mhm.
Altogether, there have been 27,000 people killed from all the sides since 1948.
Wow, so
Okay,
many like.
in 2020, we're almost finished with 2020. There's only been 29 people killed. Only. Everyone's, but that's from both sides.
Wow.
And last year, 159. But how about the
Oh,
big ones?
there's a big
Major
difference.
wars in Afghanistan. 40,000
Oh,
people have been killed since 1978. In 2020,
why?
20,000 people. Crazy.
Wow. Yeah, so many.
Wars. Kurdish,
Mhm.
Turkish, Turkey, Iraq, Syria, Artsakh. I never even heard of this place.
Yeah.
Somalia, Kenya, Congo, Algeria. All these. Look at this. Everybody's fighting against everybody over here.
Wow.
Now, okay, so these are places we've never heard of. Let's try to find a real democratic country, Democratic Republic of Congo. I have a feeling it's not a democratic and it's not the republic. But anyway, we're the only liberal Western country that is at war. It's not true. Maybe the South. I don't know. Look at this. 400,000 people killed since 2011. It's Michigan. It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's our
Wow.
minor conflicts, plenty of them. You think we got the United States?
United States.
No, we got the United Kingdom. Yes, in the United Kingdom, they fought against the Irish republics since 1998. It's a skirmish, 100 deaths in the past year. That's it.
Wow.
The United States hasn't been at war. The United Kingdom was at war less than that. Here, in 2004, this is crazy. More people have died in Syria in 2014, and frankly, probably in most of these years, than anywhere else in the world.
Mhm.
We got Afghanistan. Let's try to find the latest year. Okay, so these are the bad places.
Wow. It's
Okay, so the
so.
top 17 places, these are the places. Israel doesn't even get near it. We had 29 people were killed on both sides.
Mm, only few.
So in Israel, I think there was maybe 3 people killed this year. I don't know.
Hmm.
So anyway, but in Israel, but even still, Israel is, where was I? Israel is the country that, the democratic country that wants peace most and has least peace, something like that.
Mm.
You know, we're basically trying to live like normal lives with our hands tied behind our back. Most of our budget goes to our security budget, and it's not so that that soldiers can walk around outside of Buckingham Palace. This is serious stuff.
I just want to ask,
Yeah.
regarding to the like, what happened in Lebanon, is it near in Israel or is it far?
What does near and far mean?
Lebanon,
When
because
you asking, is it near or far, right?
near.
You're
Yeah, yeah.
asking, is it near or far, right?
Yes, yes.
So what do you mean? Does near mean 10 meters
If
away from me or 10,000 miles? What's the difference between near and far?
if you like um have like an aftershock after the massive explosion there.
Yes. I understand
Oh.
that I do believe that people felt some aftershocks in
Mm.
the north of Israel.
Oh,
A second.
because it's a very big, like, a nuclear bomb.
That's what they said.
Yes.
So here's Israel.
Mm-hmm.
This is the border of Israel, you see.
Yes, yes.
And here's Lebanon.
Oh.
Lebanon is a little smaller than Israel. It's about half the size of Israel, or it depends on how you count it, of course. Here's
Mm.
Israel. One second. This is Israel,
Mm-mm.
pretty much,
Okay.
right?
Yes, yes.
And this is Lebanon, pretty much.
Wow.
Now, of course, so as you can see, Israel is a little bit bigger.
Mm-mm.
Um, but, and I just, they do share a border, yes?
Mm-mm.
Now, it was in Beirut.
Yes.
It's a little bit far away from Haifa, which is the northernmost city of Israel. Now, of course, there are
Mm.
people who live on the border here,
Mm-mm.
but the big city is Haifa, and I think that they might have said, "What was that?" You know, but we get that kind of thing all the time around here. Like if a you know, if, an army,
Mm-mm.
an air force plane flies over, we'll hear the sonic boom.
Oh.
That's the way it goes.
Wow.
But you guys also feel things in the Philippines, right? Sometimes.
Yeah. About the Taal volcano, I'm near
Volcanoes,
on that
earthquakes,
area,
tornadoes.
so every one of us are shocked on that time that there's like a massive
You name it, you
explosion
get it.
happening. Mm.
But this is such a joke. Look, these are the not these are the armed conflict related fatalities by country in in uh, in 2015. In 1 year, Syria had 55,000 people killed,
Wow.
as did, and together with them, all of these other countries above 1,000, above 500. Israel had 190, which is, unfortunately, we didn't make it under 90. But
Mm.
when you think about how much the world focuses on Israel and says, Israel, it's all your fault. If you would only give up Palestine, then the whole world would have peace. Such baloney. But that's what people think. Here we go
Mm.
again. Here we are down here. Israel didn't even make it in 2014. Oh, they did. Yeah, we had a war then in 2014,
Oh.
2013. But this is going down. The latest they have is 2015.
Yeah. And this year it's only 29, so it's a big difference.
Kitzur, Balagan, the world is a crazy place. List of terrorist incidents since 1899.
I only
Look at
remember
this.
the in the US,
Yeah,
United
don't.
Twin Tower.
This is probably 2001. Yeah, this was whatchamacallit, 9/11.
Oh.
And then what happened over here? Whatever. The world is going crazy. And Israel in 1968. This is it. This is just from 1968. From 1970, it's gotten so crazy that you have to list it by year.
Yeah.
So let's see how many terrorist incidents have there been in 2020. None
Wow.
in Israel.
For the whole year.
All year. Let's try 2019. Israel. Okay. So here we had 26 mentions. 2 people were killed when a Palestinian gunman opened fire.
Oh.
Rocket attacks.
Wow.
2 Israelis were shot. 4 Israelis dead. In return, the IDF conducted several operations where militants were killed and civilians. 150 people were reported.
Oh, so many.
What do you mean so many? 150 people injured.
Yeah.
500 people were killed in suicide bombings in Colombo, Negombo, Bataloco, and Sri Lanka. I never heard of these places.
Wow.
I didn't have to go far to find that. And I don't know why they're saying that this is 270 reported. This includes, what do these numbers include? Killed or injured?
Injured.
Injured, no. Here, 0. Somebody was stabbed. No, 0 people were injured. 1 person was killed, probably. This is an 18-year-old kid was stabbed, killed.
Oh.
Yeah, I know the guy. Here, a bombing. Murdered. In other words, you're not going to see anything here that just here. The man and woman were at a kosher grocery store. It's not enough for them that they kill us in Israel. It's her. Balagan.